Thank you. I'll be quick. My good friend Dwayne Grove asked me how long we've been sponsoring this program, and for the life of me, I don't know, but I will say this, that we sponsor this program because for over 100 years we've been committed to downtown Hagerstown. And as we all know, downtowns are the heartbeats of cities, and from time to time, cities need a little TLC, or downtowns need a little TLC. So I'm looking forward to the program this morning. I hope you are. Hopefully it'll be informative and hopefully a little spicy too, so enjoy.
Thank you, Christian. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to watch a video. We're going to hear from the mayor and the council members. So at this point, I'm going to just stay for another second, and we're going to watch our video. So sit back and enjoy. If you need more coffee, there's some on my right. Enjoy.
Welcome. I am Mayor Emily Keller, and it is my honor to present to you the 2022 State of the City. During last year's video, I asked you to join us in shaping the best version of Hagerstown for years to come. This past year has proved that we are well on our way there. When I look at Hagerstown and think of the issues we face, I don't see them as issues, I see them as possibilities. We had a year full of tremendous progress and achievements. We are seeing growth all over our city, new businesses opening, community events being supported, and a sense that the city is really coming alive. During this State of the City, we are going to outline some of those achievements and hear from those who are helping to make it happen. Here are some of the reasons you too should believe in what is possible. The Department of Community and Economic Development has been incredibly busy managing a high volume of existing and prospective businesses and investors. The momentum in Hagerstown is undeniable, and many people are reaching out to be a part of it. DCED staff also sold many properties through our competitive negotiated sale process, putting city-owned buildings back in the private sector to meet the growth demands we are experiencing. Our Planning and Code Administration Department continued process enhancements to be business-friendly while providing fast, excellent customer service. One of those enhancements was the creation of an online permitting platform. They continue to fight to protect property values and community safety by enforcing property maintenance codes and working to encourage blight removal. The city was thrilled to be awarded $500,000 through the federal government to concentrate on blight removal, beautifying our city and improving the quality of life for all. Our engineering department has been hard at work. With the completion of Hatters Plaza and the second phase of the Cultural Trail between Antietam Street and Washington Street, we are at the end of the urban improvement project. Last year, we also saw the completion of the dredging and reconstruction of the Pangbourne Park Lake and restoration of Hamilton Run. In addition, we planted over 400 trees. Because of those efforts, Hagerstown was named a Tree City USA for the 36th year in a row. Our finance team has proved once again their ability to manage our citizens' tax dollars diligently, winning the Government Finance Officers Association Award and receiving yet another clean audit. They created the popular annual financial report to convey the financial results of the city to our citizens, which you can access on our website. Our utility department continued to provide a high level of service toward our customers 24/7, 365 days a year. While the work they do is often thankless and behind the scenes, I can say for sure we all appreciate them, as seen especially in times of an outage or issue, since they are always so quick to respond and find a resolution. The Hagerstown Fire Department is currently exploring station location options for optimal delivery of service to the city. They currently have $500,000 in the governor's operating budget for upgrades and replacement of our burn building to provide the best training opportunities, in turn providing the highest level of response to our citizens. Our Fire Marshal's office completed a record year of plan reviews, over 1,000 reviews, and 229 fire investigations. When they aren't fighting fire, the Hagerstown Fire Department participates in many community events, including Operation Warm. Each year, they provide a brand new coat to students in the Chusen Elementary School. It is truly a beautiful effort. The Hagerstown Police Department has been focused on community policing, training, and of course, keeping our community safe. In 2021, members of the HPD completed over 4,000 hours of non-academy training, including implicit bias, helping someone with a mental health issue, community policing, and more. They completed over 1,000 hours of training focused on use of force and de-escalation tactics. HPD has been working diligently to prevent violent crime, putting together task forces to investigate and arrest those doing the most harm in our community. We are pleased to report that data collected by the FBI shows our crime rate is down 27.68% since 2014. From 2020 to 2021, we saw a 9.14% decrease in crime. We believe one of the reasons the crime rate continues to decrease is the coordination with our community services that address root issues in substance use, mental health, and more. HPD partnered with those services using LEAD, Law Enforcement Assisted Diversion, and this year enhanced LEAD with our youth population. This provides an opportunity for low-level offenders to enroll in a treatment and wellness program and receive help that they need. Feeling and being safe in Hagerstown is our #1 priority, and we are pleased to see the hard work of the Hagerstown Police Department showing itself in the statistics as well as in the feelings throughout our neighborhoods. Our administration is focused on community unity and bringing back the crowds and excitement to Hagerstown. To do this, we are in the process of revamping and relaunching our Main Street program. We started with an advisory council, which hit the ground running, already finalizing a logo rebranding to celebrate downtown Hagerstown. Our Arts and Entertainment District is currently going through its 10-year recertification process. This also started with the new advisory council, who've been busy holding a listening tour and processing the results of an online survey with input on the new recertification. We look forward to a massive community partnership between these two groups, our existing arts and entertainment specialists, and any volunteer who want to join us in believing in all that is possible in Hagerstown.
In 2021, we brought the crowds back to Hagerstown thanks to free, family-friendly events such as the Imagine Hagerstown 4th Friday Music Series that took place in University Plaza from May through September. The Dolman Black Heritage Museum hosted Hagerstown's inaugural Juneteenth celebration with assistance from the city. The two-day event was rich in both history and hope. An impromptu first-ever downtown Halloween event included costume contests, haunted hijinks, and lots of fun. The traditional tree lighting on the square was highlighted by holiday musical performances, the arrival of Santa Claus, and of course, the lighting of the tree. And speaking of traditions, returning to its original format, the Middletown Valley Bank Crumpy's Donut Drop featured coffee, donuts, and fireworks. Those were some good times, but they're just a few examples of what's possible when we all get together in Hagerstown.
I'm looking forward to the proposed Hagerstown Fieldhouse becoming a reality. I think it's the best use for the old stadium to spur redevelopment of the East End and our urban core. It's a project the community has actually long desired and a public amenity that should certainly pay for itself long into the future. I know it's one of several big projects on the city's horizon, and I believe we've exercised the necessary level of transparency in securing the overwhelming public response for such a large public investment. The Hagerstown Fieldhouse will make it possible for the city to become the destinational mecca I've dreamed of, and I can't wait to see it filled with families.
Every year is a big year for Hagerstown Parks and Rec, but this past year was a banner year. Earth and Arbor Day events at City Park created a round-the-year impact with the planting of trees becoming a key component in creating the new Arboretum trails there. And the park was a major focal point in 2021 with the production of a 6-part video series on the history of City Park leading up to its iconic lake hosting fireworks for the first time ever as part of its 100th anniversary celebration. And that was in addition to the grand reopening of the City Park Train Hub in the spring, the installation and ribbon cutting for the park's education and fitness-oriented story walk in the summer, restoration work to preserve historic wine cellar near the Mansion House in the late fall, and an even more expansive and festive holiday lights and music experience illuminated the park in the winter. And again, that was just at City Park, illustrating just when you think we've seen and experienced it all, even more is possible.
Economic development continued to flourish in the city in 2021. North Point Development's 4-warehouse project on Vasel Boulevard saw the opening of the Amazon and Herbalife Nutrition Distribution Centers, part of the $169 million investment that has already generated over 1,000 new jobs. The public-private partnership also literally helped pave the way for the completion of the $6 million roadway reconstruction there, which finished up in late fall. Additionally, TerraSen announced its purchase of the former paper plant and Cascades Tissue Group facility across from Municipal Stadium. Their investment will not only create occupation of the long vacant facility, but it is expected to produce jobs too. And residentially, home builders were busy in the city last year as new home construction increased 156% from 2020. Couple that with the incentives included in the new and improved Hagerstown Home Ownership Initiative, and you get two refreshing indications of what's possible for anyone who wants to invest and live in the city of Hagerstown.
One of our main goals as an elected body was to be a community-oriented administration. We demonstrated that this past year in a number of different ways, including taking the input you provided through the community survey and implementing it into our own strategic plan. We also rolled up our sleeves and put on our gloves to join you in beautifying our neighborhoods during community cleanup days. And I was honored to take a lead role in organizing community meetings that have led to a plan to make much needed upgrades to Wheaton Park. And that's just for starters. Stay tuned in 2022 for more of what's possible for your City Council.
The City of Hagerstown is fortunate to be a recipient of $20.4 million, $10.2 million of which was received in 2021, as a result of the President's American Rescue Plan Act. These funds are transformational for communities such as ours in an effort to recover from the setbacks and delays of civic projects due to year 2 of the COVID-19 pandemic. The Mayor and City Council have already approved expenditures from this initial funding to benefit our community in areas related to public safety, utilities, behavioral health, and in direct support of our city staff who continue to provide the high quality of services and support this community expects. It is safe to say that during the State of the City in 2021, there were few that expected we would still be in the midst of this pandemic, especially those that operate a small business. Again, the resiliency of our small business owners and the motivations and passions of those just entering into business, not only in our downtown but throughout the city, is inspiring and an example to the rest of the region as to the strength of our city to provide opportunity. Best-selling author Nicole Snow states, "A small business is an amazing way to serve and leave an impact on the world you live in." This could not be more true than here in Hagerstown. Let's hear from a couple of these small business owners that are indeed leaving an impact on our community.
And the Yarn Shop downtown, co-own the Yarn Shop downtown with my husband Brian, as well as Knoll's Fire Protection. We also own the ice cream shop next door. We own Knoll Realty Holdings, which has several properties, one of which is the Alsatia Club here in town that we recently purchased.
Our background starts in Brunswick, Maryland. We opened our first brewery almost 6 years ago in the Brunswick Fire Hall. Limited on space, big building, limited on space, so we decided to expand into Frederick.
Coming to Hagerstown was always kind of in the back of our mind. Being in Frederick County is great and all, but you know, with two locations that are 20 miles from each other, we kind of wanted to branch out.
It definitely was an idea that I had and a dream that I had, and I went to my childhood best friend and I said, I want to open a juice bar, and her response was,
I'll quit my job today.
We wanted a storefront. We wanted something that you could directly walk into, windows, look in, sign. We wanted that whole feel of, you know, the downtown area.
Yeah, that's what I'm most excited about personally. Downtown, you know, I've lived in Maryland my whole life. You know, visited most of the big cities in Maryland, and the architecture in downtown Hagerstown is absolutely beautiful. It's really cool, really unique, and I'm really excited to be a part of that.
What appeals to me about downtown Hagerstown is it was a lot about perception versus reality of what downtown Hagerstown is and presents. It's not what is actually happening on Facebook. It's not your perception. The reality of it is that I will walk out here at night when it's pitch dark and I will have nobody approach me and I am perfectly safe. And my customers are safe too. There is a vibrant community and you can see it starting to emerge. And people want to come into downtown Hagerstown. They want to spend money in downtown Hagerstown.
I would say if anyone's thinking about coming downtown or not coming downtown, I would say run to downtown.
10 years ago, I would not have most likely considered Hagerstown. But there's something in the air. People here know better than we do when we're figuring out and getting a feel for it. There is an energy. I have to give credit to the mayor. She has great foresight.
It's really nice to see things changing and a more diverse downtown Hagerstown. People are working together. It's energetic. It's great to see a mayor and council that when there was a problem, for example, I know that people were complaining about the trash. They didn't just sit there and call somebody. They got out trash bags and they walked the city and they had a couple cleanup days and they cleaned it up. It's really nice to see somebody doing something within the city and not just delivering lip service.
In addition to that, people always try to compare downtown to other downtown areas. We're not Frederick downtown, we are Hagerstown downtown, and we need to embrace that. You know, always, like I had to tell the middle school today, like, you have an idea, go for it. So I'm just here to encourage people, if you want to open a business, there's so many grants that are, you know, just revitalizing the downtown area. Take advantage of that. You know, this is historical, you know, like, so let's just build together. You have an idea of a business, open it, and just watch the support that you get from the downtown.
The city has been beyond expectation as far as support, information, communication. I joke with some of the staff. They truly act like they work for a for-profit organization, and that's great, that's refreshing.
Yeah. It's remarkable that we can get email responses at 11 p.m. You know,
Yes, they're going out of their way, and that's also why I'm sharing this experience with other people that are outside of Hagerstown. It's very encouraging, and they've made it very friendly and very easy for us so far.
A lot of people told us to expect controversy, to expect the city to hold us back because we were a Black-owned business coming downtown. They told us all these bad things, and so we were kind of like, oh gosh, we never encountered one thing.
Never. Even when we did our ribbon cutting, once the city put that out there, it just really, our doors really flooded.
We did so well in the 2 hours of our ribbon cutting, we had to close that day.
Yes,
because we ran out of stuff, and if our produce wasn't coming until the next day, we wouldn't have had anything to open up the next day. So we actually left and celebrated that day because we had such an awesome day. We even had a commissioner come out and he said, I don't come downtown too often. It takes something special to bring me out, and he presented us with a certificate as well.
When I had gotten word that the Alsatia Club, because they're a nonprofit and due to COVID, it knocked down their funds, I knew that the building was getting ready to come up for sale from somebody that I know through the Alsatia Club. So we decided to purchase that building. We decided that investing in downtown Hagerstown is what we wanted to do. There's going to be a stadium in downtown Hagerstown. We are seeing the revitalization and the growth happening now. As a business owner and as somebody who's able to, we decided to commit ourselves to downtown Hagerstown and to seeing it grow by helping out, by investing our funds into it.
We fell in love with this building immediately. We knew this was the space that was going to be a production-sized brewery. So that is our intention, is to expand our production to a 30-barrel brew house.
Another thing that we're really excited about is the space in our parking lot that allows for a lot of opportunities in terms of events, especially during the spring and summertime. We're really big fans of live music, and I'm excited to be able to have anything from food truck festivals to mini beer festivals to live music. That parking lot space really opens up a lot of opportunities.
What's possible in Hagerstown? Anything is possible in Hagerstown. Your dreams are possible in Hagerstown. A person that knows nothing about politics, it is possible in Hagerstown for you to learn that. It's possible for you to run for any city office in Hagerstown. It's possible for you to open up your own business. It's possible for you to be an amazing person in Hagerstown.
Baseball player Tommy Lasorda said the difference between the impossible and the possible lies in a person's determination. I believe the same thing can be said about Hagerstown. Together, we are determined to make Hagerstown the ideal place to live, work, and thrive. Together, we are determined to inspire people to become engaged and enthusiastic about the changes we are experiencing. Together, we are determined to support our local businesses, take pride in our neighborhoods, and care about each other. What is possible, you may have asked before? I think if we have learned anything this year and throughout this presentation, it's that when we come together and work hard, anything is possible. Hagerstown, it's our time.
And so to tell us a little bit more about this magic, We're going to have the council members come up, and while they're coming up, please help me welcome Mayor Emily Keller to the podium. Mayor?
Good morning. What a turnout. Thank you guys so much for being here. Thank you to Wright Gardner Insurance for your sponsorship. Thank you to the Chamber for hosting this. And I want to start out, hopefully you guys saw during our cleanup video that we had the heads of Bob and Kristen because they couldn't be there that day. So I just want to tell you the story of Bob's head. I actually still have it in my office, and it pops up in City Hall sometimes. So like one day Rodney got to work, and Bob's head was over on the bookshelf. And one day Danny gets there, and Bob's head's over on her computer screen. So you might get to your office one day and find Bob Brucci's head somewhere. So we'll see. But I really just wanted to thank our council. We've had an incredible year, and thank our community for just being involved and coming back and believing in us. And there really is something in the air here. I mean, I hope you feel it, because we feel it, and we get to see it every day. And I just want to thank our city staff. We have the most incredible staff, and they come to work every single day to make this 45,000 person municipality work. If you work for the city of Hagerstown, if you could just please stand and be acknowledged. Thank you. Now, I want to give a shout out to Wes Decker and Eric Hastings, who's been working with me on the State of the City. We started working on it about a month ago, and then yesterday at 12:30, I decided I didn't like how I looked in the opening, in the ending. So I went in and re-recorded it, and somehow Eric still got it done to debut this morning. So thank you so much, Eric, for your hard work, and Wes for your input as well. Thank you. Before we bring the council members up, I just want to talk about those crime statistics again. I mean, 29% decrease, 9% decrease last year. I mean, HPD is short-staffed, but can we talk about how they have not let that affect our community at all? We may be short-staffed, but we absolutely have the best in the business, and my hat's off to you guys. I appreciate what you do every single day. We know crime was an issue here. We all felt it. We all saw the statistics. We all saw, the homicides that were happening, robberies, things that were scary, right? But we took it very, very serious. We will continue to take it very serious. Thank you for our chief. And just thank you guys for not making an excuse. I think you're, 30 people down? And somehow our crime rate is still decreased. So my hat's off to you. Same to the Hagerstown Fire Department. You guys have had a heck of a run over the last several weeks. I know our community has seen it. We've had several fires, and you guys are the best in the business. We're lucky to have you, so thank both organizations for keeping us safe all the time. So, again, just thank you to the community. Thank you for believing in us. Thank you for investing in us. I mean, we're exploding with growth. We have the stadium coming downtown. Our buildings, our vacant buildings are disappearing. There are businesses popping up everywhere. Just millions of dollars of investment. Home building up drastically. And I said it in the video, and I'll say it again. It is our time. It is absolutely our time. And I thank you for believing in us. And I want to introduce our council members who are doing a heck of a job. First, I want to introduce Kristen Alshire, who woke up this morning and apparently decided he was going to be a member of the Hagerstown Fire Department. So, Kristen, if you could come up. Also, I'd like to introduce Councilmember Brucci, who's here this morning.
I was just expecting my head to pop up.
I might have it somewhere. And today is the first day of Women's History Month, so I'd like to introduce our three councilwomen. Councilmember Tiara Burnett, it's her birthday, so make sure you wish her happy birthday today. Councilmember Takesha Martinez. Oh, sorry, I went in the wrong order. And Councilmember Shelley McIntyre.
Thank you, Mayor. Let's give the mayor and council members another round of applause as they settle in their chairs. So, Madam Mayor, do you have some more comments you want to make at this point?
think we'll start and go down the line.
All right, so we'll have to share the microphone, and we have our tech gentleman taking care of us. So, Councilmember Alshire, you get to kick off and say hello, and if you have some things you want to talk about, we might have some questions. So, good morning.
So I don't want to bore anybody with anything I have to talk about. I just want to say hello, welcome. Thank you to everyone for being here this morning. I want to thank the mayor and staff for a great video, a great presentation on State of the City. So welcome.
I'll tell you what, I'll echo Kristen's sentiments, and it's just great to be in downtown Hagerstown and be able to see all the smiling faces today without being covered up with masks. So.
And I'll ask, if you'll get a little bit closer to the microphones, some of the folks back. I know we have some booming voices up there, but if you get a little bit closer to the microphone, and it looks like we're going to do duet here shortly, but.
Oh, I will.
Councilmember.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Thanks for coming out. Yeah, because I can't, I don't yell. This is my first in-person State of the City. It's really great to see everyone. And I want to echo everyone's sentiments about how great the staff has been, especially for my first term, with getting me up to speed. And this administration has been really, really great, and a great team to work with. Thank you.
So that video, we all wait to see the video together. Like, we haven't seen it either. So I was probably even the most inspired in here because I get like really emotional and teary-eyed. So I'm like, oh, it's so sweet. Look at all this progress and wonderful things that we're doing here. So super excited to be here. Thank you to 28 South for those very strange grapes. Bulls and Bears, excuse me. The Chamber, and for this administration, Tierra is correct. It's a really fun ride, and I think that we're doing some really fun things with your help. So glad to be here.
So good morning, everybody. It is a complete honor to be serving with this administration, and I just want to give honor where honor is always due on the first day of history, Women's History Month, to Madam Mayor. Thank you for your leadership, and thank you just for all that you do. It is very difficult being a woman. I've seen that whole suitcase of shoes that you have to take to Annapolis, and some people don't even understand the struggle that we have. And so I also want to say that Hagerstown is absolutely good ground, and you reap what you sow, and that video just was absolutely a testament to it. So yes.
Thank you. And so on your tables, you have some cards and pencils. We'll take questions if you want. You can write them down and hold them up, and someone will grab them from you. Or you can stand up and ask the question. So to kick us off, and each of you get a shot at this if you like. We'll start with Madam Mayor. You all have about 2 years left in your current administration. So what do you see? You talked about a lot of great things we saw in the video that are happening, and of course are going to be moving forward over the next 2 years. What else do you see to keep this momentum going during the next 2 years, and also after that? Looking ahead some, because you're either going forward or backward. You're not staying still.
We're going forward. I just see a continued pattern of growth. Our economic development department is busy. They are very busy, and they're doing a heck of a job. That people want to come to Hagerstown, and people are coming to Hagerstown. I think we're going to continue to see that growth, the growth in businesses, growth in home building, and just really over the next 2 years, we want to continue to bring the crowds back downtown. COVID really put a damper on things, and now that we are able to do this again, continue encouraging community events, continue encouraging participation in things, and just really bringing back that sense of community pride that we may have lost for a while. So I know over the next 2 years, that's what we're going to continue to focus on, and I see us heading in the right direction.
So you've probably heard me say it before, but politics is as constant as the next election. And so I think that that's how we work through these processes, to focus on the big things. So while the politics may change, efforts and avenues of things may change, we try and focus on the big items that we want to get done. And I know the rest of the council here hates when I break out the white book that has sort of the 30 items in it.
It's not here, is it?
It's not. But for me, it's a process of focus on each item, getting it done, taking it off the table, and moving on to the next one. And so I think that that's what I'd like to keep doing for the next 2 years.
Well, I know that as we continue to move forward, it's exciting because we have the opportunity currently with this administration to work collaboratively with our other counterparts at government, county, state. And I believe that if we can continue to have that good dialogue and move forward, we're not only going to see growth in the city of Hagerstown itself, but we're going to see the growth on the outside of Hagerstown too. That benefits everybody. So I look forward to, over the next 2 years at least, to continue to work collaboratively with all of our counterparts and the community to continue to move forward. So actually, it's a very exciting time. And I'm excited to be a part of it.
For me, it's growth. There's a lot of entrepreneurs that has been just popping up everywhere, and I think most of that due to the pandemic. You know, people lost their jobs and they had to think of, you know, what can I do to make sure that we get food on the table? So what now we're seeing is a lot of small businesses are popping up, entrepreneurs are working together, collaborating, and understanding that you two can not just, you know, sit at home and do nothing, but actually come out here and do your best and put your best foot forward to make an economic decision for your family.
So there's a skate park groundbreaking today at 2 o'clock. That's exciting. So that'll be happening for the next few months, and then, you know, for the next 2 years, we can just learn to skateboard, some of us. Personally, I am continuing my work on the Ending Needless Violence with Our Youth project, which is the collaborative effort between private and public partners. We did have our 5th quarter event this past Friday with a lot of the people in this room, a big help towards that. So it is a proven process that has worked in other parts of the country, and it is a 5-pronged approach to reduce the violence with our youth. So we will continue to work with that and get that to grow and prosper through the next couple of years of my administration.
Wow. Oh my
Just
goodness.
start singing.
Start singing? I can't sing.
Try.
Do a poem.
Yeah.
And so community outreach and the youth is what, and mediation, so making sure people feel heard and understood is kind of where my focus is. And a lot of times it's hard to see the work that I do like right in the now, but I plan to continue to be an ambassador for this body. I think that sometimes we tell just part of the story, and as I was researching and reading more about Hagerstown, each time there was something that happened here that was racial, that was hurtful, Hagerstown, the city administration always reconciled. And I want to be a part of telling that story. Also, I want to make sure that I bring back the poet part of me. I came back to Hagerstown doing poetry and bringing people and poets to Hagerstown. And so people don't support businesses, people support people, and relationships are absolutely our greatest resource. And so I just want to continue to be that for Hagerstown, is someone that people can come to and I can get myself out the way and be a great ambassador to bring us all together. And that's what I like to see. I like to see us all together, even with differences.
All right, so I don't see anyone waving a card around or waving a hand around. Is there a question in the audience? Can I have another one? But yes, Ms. Brooke, please, stand and yell. I know you have a quiet voice.
I do have a quiet voice.
But you can stand so we can see you. Please, thank you.
I just wanted to say, one, thank you and congratulations for all the work that you've done in the last year to our seeing explosive growth. And my question is not more of what you guys can do for us, but how can we as a community show up for these efforts and support you in this growth and help to be sure that we're building those relationships, or we're there on a Friday night, or we're helping people get back to work, or getting people into the turf facility to play soccer with you, Councilman Alshire. What can we do to support these projects and your initiatives over the next 2 years?
Great, so I'll just throw my question away there. So good job, Brooke. If you have any more you can send, just text me, all right? So anyone who wants to start, I'd love to hear from all of you, because what can we do as citizens, as business owners? So have at it.
I would say just show up.
Yep.
This.
Do this. This is how we bring community back. When we have events, come to our events. Come downtown or wherever they are in Hagerstown. When we have a community cleanup day, come join us. Come join us and help beautify our city. Just anything you can do to participate in what's going on. If you're a business owner, sponsor different events like chamber events and encourage people to come out. And something we really want to do as we focus on bringing people back downtown is if you have that friend, that friend that's always on Facebook complaining about everything, or someone that, won't come to Hagerstown because they have this perception of something, bring them with you.
Yeah.
Bring them with you and help change that perception. Show them that there are things to do in Hagerstown, that we are thriving here. Because we all have that one friend, that says, oh, nothing's going on down there, I won't go, or I don't feel safe. So help us change that perception. Bring those people along with you and help them see what's really going on here.
This may come out a little wrong, but I'll try and say it as correctly as I can.
Mike, be ready, okay? All right.
I think for me, it's be as engaged as you possibly can about the things that you're passionate about. And I say that because a lot of times, a lot of us in this sector and segment of the community try and do everything. We try and be involved in everything, and we just may not have the energy for all of those things because we're not passionate about those. And so for me, and I'll use my example, and most of you probably know, I have 5 children at home. None of them play sports, and so it's very odd that sort of, I'm pushing for the particular item of the indoor sports complex because that isn't, but I'm passionate about that issue. You know what I mean? And so I guess what I'm trying to say is be engaged in those particular things because you can't, nobody has the energy, and maybe some out there do, for 100 different things at once, but if you can be engaged in those 3 or 4, I think that's what helps us get, those dozens of things across the finish line that each of us can sort of pick and choose and be involved in.
Came out great to me.
Yep.
Good job. Bob?
I ran into a friend of mine out at work one day, and we just had a quick conversation. And this was back even just at the beginning when it was announced that we were going to build a multi-use facility in downtown. And he said, maybe it's time for me to actually invest in Hagerstown. I said, well, let me tell you something, buddy. Good luck trying to find something downtown. I said, people are excited. There's electricity in the core. And that's what we've needed for a long time, is that little bit of a push to make everybody realize just how damn great downtown is. You come down here, you go to an event. It's tough. I'm not a walker, I'll be honest, okay? I'm old, my feet are sore all the time. When I got to park at City Hall to come to an event downtown, it's exciting. Because there's no place else to park.
That's right.
I got to park in the basement of City Hall, or else I'm parking way down on South Locust someplace. And we all know I'm not doing that, okay? So it's great to be able to see that community atmosphere in downtown. People are smiling, people are happy. And yeah, you know what? We have our problems, without a doubt. Every city does. But we are battling back against them, and you guys are helping us, and I appreciate that.
That was a great question. I think what's helpful for us is to show up, definitely show up, and also spread the good. We've seen in social media world where negative comments and negative remarks spread a lot quicker than the good things about Hagerstown. And another point is to make sure that we keep engaging in our youth. That's helpful for us as leaders and everyone in this room because, as cliche it is, youth is the future, but we have to get them now so they can become really great adults and can retire, so we can retire. I turned 38 today, but I'm looking forward to that.
You have a couple more years yet.
Looking forward to that.
I'm ahead of you, but you have a couple more years.
You're so old.
I'm looking forward to the day I can retire. We can't do that until I make sure that we have good kids that are going to become great adults.
So to piggyback off of what Kristen said, don't be afraid to approach us with any kind of idea that you have. Surprisingly, I've never skateboarded, nor have I ever gotten a fight in my life. But the skateboard park and the youth violence initiative, is something that's very important to other people in our community. And so there are ways to find ideas in order to make your idea and your passion, your business, your, crazy concept actually come to life. We can't come up with it all. We don't come up with it all. So I think that don't be afraid to approach us with something that you're like, no, would be a really good idea in downtown Hagerstown, and you'd be surprised at what we can actually make happen.
I would say what you guys could do to help is to be okay with being uncomfortable. That's when the most growth happens. And so I would just ask you all and your staff, and challenge your staff to go listen to someone they wouldn't normally talk to have a cup of coffee with someone that you would never have a cup of coffee with. And then you'll understand that we all want the same things at the end of every day. And so that's what I would say that you guys could do, is just challenge the people around you to be uncomfortable, and to also get in the rooms and around people and in places that you would never ever be. I find myself there all the time, and I'll tell you, being in uncomfortable places is where you mature the most. And so we're never too old, even at 38, to grow and to learn something and mature.
All right, we're getting ready to grow and mature here a little bit, Councilmember, because this could be an uncomfortable question, but I think it's an appropriate question. Councilmember Brucci mentioned collaboration with city and state officials. So the question is, from the city side, what's the plan to better work and collaborate with the county government to better serve the community as a whole? I know you've been working on it, so I'd love to hear an update.
That's a great question. So we did have a couple joint meetings with the county. We agreed to meet every 3 months to try to make some progress. Hagerstown is part of Washington County. So we're all looking to better Hagerstown because that helps Washington County as a whole. We met with several things regarding the tax differential, regarding our fire system. That was really the big topic of conversation there, because if you're a Hagerstown taxpayer, you're paying for the Hagerstown Fire Department, and your county taxes are paying for county service. If you live in the county and you use the Hagerstown Fire Department, you're not paying for that. So we were trying to just find a fair tax differential for our citizens, which is what we were elected to do. There really hasn't been a lot of progress on those conversations. We're hopeful that they can continue, and we need to work together. We do need to work together, but at this point, we're still trying to schedule our next joint meeting.
Anyone else like to weigh in, the council members? And if the answer is no, it's fine, but happy to hear from anyone else.
So, I think I've said this forever, the struggle often with the city and the county, we're two large entities, if you will, in Washington County, that have off-cycle elections. So every 2 years, we're going through that process, and the opposite 2 years, the county's going through that process, and, it makes for an odd dynamic, oftentimes, in terms of really getting on the same page, because you have sort of that year in between those every 2 year off cycles to really get on the same page on anything. And I think that one of the big hurdles that we overcame probably about 5 years ago, and I'm going to credit former County Commissioner Greg Snook with helping do this, is seeing the city as a different entity, a different animal, a different being in the county, sort of almost completely separate. And I just remember when the first project sort of took off, and Senator Serafini sort of in that same mold, saying, hey, this is really the hub, this is really the center, this is really part of the county, it's a critical part, and if we don't acknowledge that and start investing in that, the rest of it starts to die slowly from that center out. And so I think that sort of seeing that and changing that mindset really changed how the rest of the county saw investing in those necessary improvements within the city made. And so I use this one example, we're not talking about infrastructure really all that much anymore. 10 years ago, that's all we talked about at these state of the city, state of the county efforts. What we're talking about are these large projects. And so I think that One of the reasons we've sort of gotten over that hump is because of the vision to see that if this doesn't work, the rest of the county doesn't work.
So I do want to acknowledge Commissioner Burkett. Thank you for being here this morning. I know Commissioner Klein is prepping for your meeting today, but I do want to acknowledge you being here and being part of this. And there's another word for kind of this uncomfortable conversation you have, and it's called normal. And I think to Councilmember Martinez's point, if we don't talk about it, you can't resolve it. And so when you're feeling a little uncomfortable, squirming in your seat, we're probably talking about the right things. So thank you. Another question here. We saw that crime is down in the video, and we heard that Chief Kiefer and his team are working really hard at all hours of day and night. They're very approachable and accessible. So the question is, while crime is down and HPD is doing an excellent job, how do you plan on addressing homelessness and drug activity, specifically at the Dagmar?
Oh my. Specifically.
Brooke, you want the mic?
Well, I think we're lucky to have a lot of collaboration between our health department through the services who are working to address homelessness, like Horizon Goodwill, Community Action Council, who are all here today, the health department, Community Action Council, Horizon Goodwill. There are a lot of different services here in the city who are trying to work together to find solutions. We know homelessness is an issue. We see it. I can't, to speak specifically to the Dagmar is a little difficult because it's not the only area where there are issues. I mean, we have issues, everywhere, just like every urban city does. But I can tell you there is a lot of collaboration going on. The health department is working hard at doing harm reduction and outreach. We have a homeless coalition that goes out and does outreach to try to help people. The reality of it is some people want to get help and they want to get treatment, and some people just don't. And you can't force someone out of a situation they don't want to be forced out of. And that's frustrating for all of us, but it's the reality of it. It's just like some people are going to use drugs. It's just the reality of it, right? We want to save all of them. We don't want to see that. But some people just aren't ready to get treatment. It's the same way with the homeless issue. I know, there are people here who can speak a lot more intelligently to this, but we have outreach teams going into homeless camps, offering solutions, offering housing options, offering treatment programs, and they just don't want it. So we're trying to find a healthy balance between helping people who are ready to get help and housing people who are ready to be housed, and all working together to figure it out. But it's definitely a lot to tackle.
Anyone else want to address the general topic of homelessness and those types of things? Some thoughts, some things you've been working on? I know there's initiatives many of you have been working on.
Well, I think that, all of us can agree that we're not the only city that has these issues, right? So if the country could figure it out, then maybe we could. So I think that that's the thing. And Mayor Keller's right. There are many, many organizations and individuals that are working so hard to make it, go away. But it's never going to go away. It's never going to go away. So I think that, Brooke, you had asked, what can you do? It's really that if you have an idea, let us know. Help, volunteer, reach out, whatever it takes. I mean, again, the government is not the solution to this issue. We're not the only solution, that is. So I think that it's important to know and to say and realize and understand that we're not the only ones with these major, major problems. And, as difficult as it is, we have a long way to go, as does the rest of the country. So once we can all figure it out, then maybe we'll have it. Maybe it'll be easier. Maybe it'll be better.
And I will only add to, it would be helpful if we could embrace change and embrace solutions. Because, for example, we've been working really hard for a couple years now on trying to get together a 24-hour crisis center. People don't like the word crisis, so what are we calling it now? 24-hour service center. We have to change names. Apparently crisis is not a good thing. But so we don't have that in this community. We don't have a place where you can be transported if you're in whether drug crisis, mental health crisis, whatever that looks like. We don't have a place for that. And unfortunately, every time we try to establish one, we get the not my neighborhood, you can't do that here. It's going to bring people here. Well, people are already struggling here. And I'm not going to, I'll get off my soapbox in a second, but we have people who need help here already. So building a facility that's going to help them, developing solutions that's going to help them is not going to draw more people here. We need to help our community. So getting on board and recognizing that treatment services aren't a bad thing would be helpful for all of us.
I think also we have in our county, we have 3 prisons and we have a detention center. And so I think one of the things that we have to understand is with that, we have to have some type of connecting solution in the middle in order to get people restored. After they've done their time, they need to be restored and re-entered. And so one of the things that you can check out is we have Bill Gertner with Gatekeepers, and on a Saturday morning at Trinity Lutheran Church, they have returning citizens, and actually the community comes in. And it is the most powerful 2 hours of my week. And so that's what I mean by being uncomfortable. Try going and seeing what that program is doing. How many people have gotten back to work? I think we need to start telling that story. We need to start telling how many people got back to work, how many people have, overcome homelessness. And because we do have the services here, we have great people. We can call Brooke at midnight and shoot Jordy an email. He'll call you on the phone for a particular. We have great services with great leadership. I think that now we have to understand we have a community that has prisons, we have issues, and that in order to see what we want to see in 10 years, we have to all get to work on making it happen. And that is supporting the solutions that are in place, that are doing the work that most of us couldn't even imagine that needs to be done at midnight or 3 in the morning.
So you mentioned Jordy, a personal story about probably 6 months ago. Our office is adjacent to Barbara Ingram School, and there's an alley in between. And one morning came in, there's a young man sleeping in there. Travis, I think is his name. And so I said, Travis, you just can't stay here. And he lost his job. I don't think he was quite 18. And so next day he was there again. I said, Travis, you cannot stay here. I don't want to have to call the police. I know you're down your luck. And I gave him, Community Action Council, the address, and Jordy's information. And over the course of a number of days, because, Travis was hungry and he didn't trust anybody, long story short, the police came and helped him as well. But I saw him about a month after that. He was working. When I first saw him, his hair was straggly, it was dirty, he was unkempt. He had a shopping cart with his stuff in it. And about a month of that, after getting help with CAC and some resources, he was working, he had a place to live. And so probably 3 or 4 years ago, I might have taken a different approach. But your point, Councilmember Martinez, I think we have to look at this differently. Folks, in many cases, don't want to be homeless. They don't want to live like that. And so there are resources. There are a lot of them here. And I know it's a catch-22, but if there's folks who need help, I think there's a way to get through that. And with all this activity, with jobs and other things, we could help them out of that. So, to your point, I think be part of the solution, not part of the problem. I have another question. Well, first of all, it was noted that Randy Wagner was here, so I want to acknowledge that Commissioner Wagner's here, and also he was on his way to their meeting. So I want to give him credit for being here. Question is, what are the plans the city might have for the former YMCA, if any, if you're allowed to talk about it?
Well, I mean, the city doesn't own that building. I know a lot of people think that we do. I know it's under the Grow estate right now. We would love to see something happen with the YMCA building. I can tell you about a year ago, I had the opportunity to tour it with an investor that was here and Secretary Holt. And I mean, it needs millions of dollars of repair. There was snow inside. It had snowed the day before. There was snow inside. It's in pretty bad disrepair. Incredible building, good bones. I mean, the woodwork when you walk in is just beautiful. But unfortunately, it's going to take someone with very deep pockets to make that building functional again. But I think as we are experiencing what we are downtown, it'll come. We just have to find the right person.
So one of the things that I had posed to the mayor probably about a year and a half ago was, we've had the First Third, the Best Hagerstown, however you want to call it, program in place for a number of years now. And so what that does is it provides sort of First Third funding, if you will, to Landlords that want to buy property as rental, homeowners that want to buy property, so there's $8,000 you get if you want to buy a house. And then I think it's up to $50,000 for business development outside of the core. And then, as you are all probably aware, the up to $250,000 toward some of the large buildings downtown. But really, there are some buildings in town that I look at as white elephants. I could ask the same question, I brought this up to the mayor, about the old Sears building out at Long Meadow, and so there are clearly buildings around our city that are just too big for private development. They're just too big for government to sort of take on in a singular fashion. And for me, I'd like to see the city at some point develop an additional category within this investment program where we would identify one building each year and be able to put about $1.5 million toward a private developer to invest in that singular building, because the $250,000 just isn't going to do it. It's going to do it for some of these buildings downtown, but even with those $250,000 amounts in these big buildings, whether you take the Schmagelstube or the apartments that WLR did, they're still putting $1.5 million, $2 million into those with that $250,000. And so for me, when I look at a building that's going to take $14 million to reinvest, you're going to have to bring more money to the table as government for that private investor to really have some serious interest in it.
Other thoughts that have been addressed on that one? All right. When I left this morning, my wife said, "Don't say anything stupid." I said, "Well, the bar's pretty low there." And so I'm not asking this question, but I'm trying to phrase this question or this topic in a diplomatic way. Because my boss is sitting like 10 feet from me. We saw, you mentioned, we saw in the paper today about the stadium, and there was some discussion about, is this the right location? Is this the right thing for the city? Who's going to pay for it? So I guess the question is trying to get to, how do you reconcile there was some discussion about whether or not the stadium should be downtown at all and where it is, and then who's paying for it. So how do you reconcile all that, because we're also building an indoor turf facility, and how do we, I guess, play nice in the sandbox for the benefit of the citizens? And I'm wordsmithing it, but it really, there's some discussion about, is there 100% support from the city? Who's going to pay for it? How can we embrace this, even though there might be even some citizens that don't want it there? So I'll leave it like that and tap dance my way away from the microphone.
Take it away.
Mayor, can I go ahead?
Sure. Yeah, I want to respond.
There are two major entertainment venues, if you will, that are going to happen at about the same time. One is the indoor sports complex, and the other is the multi-use facility in downtown Hagerstown. Do we think that that's the right place for it? 110%. It is the right place. I can go back because, and Mr. Bowman and I had this conversation this morning, I can go back 24 years and tell you that 24 years ago, we wanted to build a new facility at Salem Avenue and Interstate 81. Who remembers that from 24 years ago? All right? Didn't happen. Wrong location. Okay? So, we have seen this type of project in the core of a city repeated over and over across this country and be successful and change those communities where it's located at. Why are we different? We're not different. We're the same. This will have a lasting change for decades in our core. Who's paying for it? I can tell you this, the city of Hagerstown is not paying for this facility. We are not, the county commissioners are not paying for this facility in downtown Hagerstown. We, the city of Hagerstown, are involved because we are going to finally, after 22 years, build a parking deck on West Antietam Street. 22 years we've talked about it. 22 years, Mr. Ralph Showers agreed with me, we need it. We are finally going to do it. And it will be a fantastic addition to not only supply a parking venue for the new facility, but for the first and second block of Summit, for the first and second block of West Washington, for Antietam, for Baltimore, for South Potomac. I mean, the Maryland Theater is going to benefit, the restaurants are going to benefit, everybody is going to benefit from this facility. So, again, City of Hagerstown is not building the new multi-use sports facility in downtown. The county commissioners are not building it. It's being built by a private partnership with the Maryland Stadium Authority. Nothing to do with city government or county government. Now, we are going to build an indoor sports facility, and I believe that that will have another huge impact in Hagerstown. And I'm in favor of that too. So these are two great projects, along with the skate park today at 2 o'clock, that are going to benefit this community, again, for decades. So if there's any other questions about who's funding this, please let me know.
I guess not the funding, it's the embracing thereof, that's all.
I'd like to take
Everybody's
that, 'cause that
embracing
question
it.
was probably directed at the two of us, because we are the two of us that voted against Phase 2 of the stadium. And I admit that because we didn't agree with the location, or we wanted to at least explore another location option. I'm speaking for myself, not him. But here we are, right? After 20-some years of talking about a stadium, you guys were able to pull it off. There's always issues. Who was going to pay for it? Who was going to own it? Who was going to maintain it? I think that was the root issue for years and years and years and years, and of course the location. But we solved who's paying for it, it's gambling tax. We solved who's going to own it, and we solved who's going to take care of it. So the three major sticking points that kept stopping this project for so long are solved. So we're all on board now. I mean, we see what is happening in our community, and I think as far as fractured relationships, there are not. We have a great relationship with Chief, who's going to own and operate the stadium. We have a great relationship with the baseball group, Mr. Bowman, and Blackie Bowen, and all of us are on the same page. We really are on the same page. So, yeah, this has been a very tension-filled topic for a long time, right? And it could just never get there, and here we are. And it's all happening at the same time. They're supportive of our indoor turf facility. We're supportive of the downtown stadium. And I think we're all excited to just finally get shovels in the ground and these changes happening. So I don't see any sort of fractured relationship or that there's going to be any issues moving forward.
Yeah, I think that for me, and it's funny, I was having this conversation back at the table earlier, I try not to get involved in the politics of the issues, and I say that this way. And I've said it before, government's obligation is really to invest in the infrastructure that then drives the investment of the private sector. So our obligation is to invest in the utility infrastructure upgrades, the $15 million that we're putting into the parking deck to facilitate growth, whether it be for this item or any other growth-related item around that area. For me, when a private investment comes forward, the question is as odd, frankly, to me, as folks that said, how could you support the North Point, on Basil Boulevard, the way it looks? And government's job was to invest in the road that made that project happen. That's our obligation, is infrastructure and services. I don't have any question either, as odd as it would be to say, and we got this question, right? How can you get rid of the farmer's market, for this brewery? Private investment is making that, step. Our obligation as government is to figure out, okay, private investment is going here. What infrastructure and service-related obligations do we have to make sure that it happens in a successful manner? That, to me, is the end of that discussion on any one of any private investment that comes before the city and says, hey, I want to do private investment X at city location Y.
So that, I think, folks, demonstrates leadership, didn't run from the question, and it also, in my mind, helped establish we're all in it together. So with that, Let's give our mayor and council members a round of applause. Thank you for your leadership, and thank all of you for being available. I mean, anyone is available almost any day of the week if you have a question or concern. They're very accessible. I do again want to thank our law enforcement and first responder professionals, Chief Kiefer, Chief Lord, your leadership. Thank you. Let's give another round of applause for the work you're doing. And also another round of applause for our city staff. Thank you for working so hard to keep our city nice. And Donna and Brianna and Janet, I know I see two of them. Did Donna go back to the office? Let's give them a round of applause. Thank you for the work you're doing. We had a governor visit last week, the business awards last week, State of the City today, we're Dana Annapolis reception today. Lots going on, so they're working really hard on our behalf. And so thank all of you, number one, for being here today. The mayor has a breaking announcement.
I need to take a selfie with you guys, please.
So
So,
before you
before
leave,
you go.
yep. All right, go ahead. Where you want to stand there? Is that good?
It's my first in-person State of the City. Give me a break. Everyone smile. Thanks.
So with that, the parking meters start. Hopefully, the chief will. The parking meters won't be out there too soon. So get your car. Thank you.
I totally think that your video.
Yeah, thank you for your question.